family secrets were revealed when you became an adult. When I was little, I thought my Uncle Theo just didn't like being around people. He lived alone, didn't come to birthdays or holidays, never picked up the phone. My mom said he was off the grid and liked it that way. My dad said nothing. I remember once asking if Uncle Theo had any pets, and Mom gave me this look like I'd asked something wrong, then muttered, he doesn't need anything else relying on him. So I stopped asking. We had a photo of him on the hallway wall, tucked behind the bigger family ones. He looked younger, wild hair, weird smile, standing barefoot in front of a cabin. That was the only trace of him I ever saw growing up. Just a picture and a name no one said unless it slipped. I think I was 22 when things started coming out. My mom had surgery and needed help around the house, so I flew back home to stay a while. It was just me and my dad one night, watching TV in silence, when a news report came on about a parole hearing in another state. It was just background noise until my dad said very softly, that's the place. I turned to him. What place? He didn't look at me, just nodded toward the screen. That's where your uncle was. I paused. Uncle Theo? Still no eye contact. Yep. I muted the TV. He was in prison? Dad didn't answer right away. Then he sighed and said, there are things you didn't need to know as a kid. That was the end of it, but my brain wouldn't let it go. I waited a few days, then asked Mom when she was resting on the couch. She didn't even pretend to be surprised I brought him up, just said, Theo made a mess of everything a long time ago. We don't talk about it. That was the agreement. What kind of mess? I asked. She gave me that same look from years ago, like I'd wandered somewhere dangerous without knowing it. It involved a girl, she said, and it wasn't just messy. It was bad. I didn't push. But that night I went digging, pulled up court records, newspaper clippings, whatever the internet would give me. And there he was. Not just a name, a mugshot. Turns out Uncle Theo had been arrested when he was 19. Some kind of fight at a party. A girl ended up unconscious. There was alcohol, rumors, but no clear answers. Charges got dropped the first time. A year later, it happened again with a different girl. That time, he went away for good. 12 years. I sat there staring at the article, wondering how this had never come up, wondering how someone could vanish from a family without anyone blinking. Then I remembered the photo in the hallway. I went to look. It was gone. I asked Mom about it. She didn't deny anything, just said, I took it down when you were 12. You stopped asking, so I figured it was time. I asked her if she thought he was guilty. She said, he was young, angry, thought the world owed him something. You do the math. A week later, I got a message on Facebook from a name I didn't recognize. The profile had no photo, no posts, just the message, you're still using the family name? I stared at it for a long time. I never responded. We never talk about Uncle Theo anymore.
What's one lie you were told as a child that you believed for too long? When I was little, maybe 5 or 6, I came home one day after school to see my mom washing our relatively new black Labrador puppy in the sink. She finished, and I went outside to play with him for a bit. When I came back a few minutes later, I noticed that Murphy, my black Labrador puppy, had a different shape than I remembered. Being a kid and absorbing random information, I somehow knew that really hot water could shrink clothes and other things, so I made the connection that he had been washed with water that was way too hot and had shrunk as a result. I told my mom about the mistake she had made, but she was all too happy to accept the blame for her error, and life went on as usual. 11 years later, for whatever reason, I brought up the shrinking incident again, and the sad truth finally came out. Murphy had actually been hit by a car, driven by a friend of my parents. The guy felt so horrible that he drove all the way into town to find another black Labrador puppy before my brother and I got home from school. To cover up the evidence as best as possible, they gave the new puppy a good bath to get rid of the pet store smell, and you already know the rest.
What immediately tells you someone is a trashy parent? When I was 15, I babysat for this family down the street. Single dad.